Event modeling is not only for these hipster companies. Any software team, any software project can benefit from applying event modeling to plan the system properly. Let me show you how quickly that is possible. Let's assume we are planning a ticketing system for a cinema. The first thing we would do is we will provide a model context. The model context basically is just a name for our model. So this is basically our ticketing system. And we will select here the default context. So this is our context we are currently working with. Now, what we can do is we can provide the first information here. Let's say we have our ticket reserved is the first action the user could do. A reserved ticket, the action, the information in the system is ticket reserved. Now, what is the essential information we store in our system? So for example, it could be the name, it could be the email address, and it could be something like a reservation ID. We store this information, and what we are doing is we will provide a first operation here. You're just one click away using our tooling for a state change slice. So we can reserve this ticket. We now have a screen. On this screen, there could be a button. The user clicks this button, triggers the reserved ticket action, and it results in a ticket reserved event being stored in our system, which does only mean we store information in the system. This has nothing to do with event sourcing or event-driven architectures. This is just an indication that we are storing information in our system. Now, what we will now do is we will provide a swim lane for our event, which provides us with an aggregate, and this is enough to build a running prototype from it. So in the discussion, we could now just start the prototype and discuss with the prototype, is this how the system is actually going to work? Let's do this. The ticketing system is already prepared, so we can just say create config and jump over to the prototype. Here is our default flow. This all is completely generated from our event model. We have our screen here and we have the reserved ticket command button. Now we can adjust anything in this prototype. So for example, we could say we want this button to be named reserve ticket. Just save it, jump over and recreate the configuration. And the button should update automatically. Now what we will be doing is we will now say we trigger our action. This form is also generated automatically from our command. Name is Martin. My email address is info@nebulet.de and my reservation ID is 123. Now, nothing happens, but we are using our in-browser event sourcing engine, which shows us there is already one event being stored in our system. Now, what can we do with this event? For example, we could define, well, we want to display all the reservations to the user. How do we do this? Just provide a state view slice. These are the green ones. You're just one click away. It's the same screen because these screens share the same name. So both the action and the information will be displayed on the same screen. Now, this is basically a list item. Let's define this as a list item. So we will display a list of reservations to the user. And that's all. Let's update our configuration. And if everything is right, we will see now our tickets reserved are here and we can select the items. We haven't provided any projection configuration, so let's do this. We need to tell the system how to display the data. So just use the AI button. If you have AI enabled, it will provide the sample implementation. We can just store it and regenerate the configuration. Now what will happen is we will now see this is my reservation. I reserve with the reservation ID 123, which corresponds to the information in our event. And we have this first element here. But sometimes I do not want to have a 0 here. You can, of course, adjust this also. Let's jump over here. We have the prototype configuration, and we can provide the render function down here. It's basically, we will provide the email field. Let's say we want to display the email. We do not provide any configuration for the fields. This is enough. So basically just showing what is displayed in the dropdown. All right. Update the configuration and jump over to the prototype, and it should automatically adjust the dropdown here. For this, you need a reload. let's jump over. Let's do another reservation. Martin, info@nebulit.de 123. Fix the typo here and submit everything. Now you see this is the email now. I can select the email and this is my information. And we also have our in-browser event sourcing engine. All the information is here. So you can really play around with the model. We could also say, well, we do not want to display this on the same screen. We can just rename the screen and say, this is my confirmation screen. Let's just name it confirmation, update the ticketing system. And what will happen is you will get a second screen. Now we have the screen here and we have the confirmation screen that we can use. Everything here is completely generated from the event model, and you can use this to basically play around with the system you're currently planning. This whole process improves software development so much because you get so much feedback very early in the process. This is also exactly the process I described in my book, Understanding Event Sourcing. And the great thing is, if you want to try this with your team, the first session is always free. Just contact me. The first session is always free. I will sit down with your team and we will look at a certain use case. You can choose which one and we will just play around with it, model it and generate 1 or 2 prototypes from it. The first session is free. Just contact me and I'm so looking forward to hear from you. See you.